Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Colby. I am the instructor for critical thinking for Pima Medical Institute. I wanted to post a video, a little short lecture today talking about our upcoming assignments for the week and giving just a bit of an introduction to what we're doing. So we are in week 3, or moving into week 3, where we will be learning about critical thinking and language. So this lesson this week is going to cover sort of a more philosophical, critical look into what language really is and how language develops and what words mean. And we'll be thinking about things like, why do words have the meanings that they have? Should we be offended by language, by words? What power really lies in words? Talking about things like connotation and denotation. So denotation refers to the dictionary definition of a word, whereas connotation refers to the culturally or socially accepted definition of the word. So for example, I might say that my classroom here at the high school is cool. Do I mean denotatively, the temperature is cool in my classroom? Or do I mean connotatively, like the classroom here at my school has a cool vibe? So we're going to be thinking about things like that. We're going to be talking about the arbitrary nature of language, how what we think has a concrete meaning in a word might not actually have that. We're going to be talking about how language exists in terms of signs and signifiers that we have come up, we meaning people, culture, society, have come up with words that we speak or symbols that we write that then mean something, and how that process works. And it's an interesting thing to think about. Our work for the week includes the language discussion. This discussion goes from Wednesday, September 19th through Sunday, September 23rd. You need to have your first posts in by Friday, which is the 21st, and you always need to make at least a couple replies to your classmates in order to receive full credit. This discussion is an interesting one. It's about a New York Times article, or you need to read a New York Times article that is about a politician or a member on a politician's team who used a word in a meeting that sounds super inappropriate and offensive. It sounds like a racial slur, but the word that he actually used has no racial connotations whatsoever or denotations. It's not a racist word. And yet everyone heard it as a racist word. And as a result, this whole conflict erupted. So it's an interesting thing to think about, the power of words, right? This man, Mr. Howard, who said the word, eventually ended up losing his job as a result. Should words have that kind of power? What is really happening when someone takes offense to a word? Those are the kind of questions that this discussion is going to entail. We also have the nonverbal language assignment due this week. The nonverbal language assignment is due on the 23rd, which is Sunday, but you can turn it in for a preview by Wednesday, the 19th. So if you aren't familiar, preview dates allow you to submit the assignment just like you would if it was a final. And within the 48 hours after that preview deadline, so the preview deadline is Wednesday the 19th by 11 o'clock p.m., within 48 hours, I will have looked at it, commented on it, and graded it just like it was your final grade. But then you can download that file that has the comments that I've made, and you can use that file or use those comments to make improvements to your work and then resubmit it by the actual deadline on Sunday. You don't have to take advantage of the preview. There's no penalty for not doing the preview, but it's just an option to help you get the best grade possible for an assignment. This assignment is an interesting one. It is about the Scott Peterson trial. And for those of you that don't remember the Peterson trial or don't know much about it, Scott Peterson was accused of killing his wife, Lacey, and their unborn son. And there wasn't a great deal of evidence connecting Peterson to the murders. And in many ways, he was found guilty because of his nonverbal body language on the trial or during the trial. He seemed stoic and distant and unremorseful and opposite of what we expect a grieving husband and soon to be father to feel. And so despite the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of evidence, jurors found him guilty and cited his behavior and appearance on the stand as the primary reason for their verdict. Now, they may have had it right when it comes to Peterson, but that raises a lot of questions. What does a guilty person look like? What is a remorseful or heartbroken or person in mourning supposed to look like? And do we really feel comfortable sentencing someone to life in prison or perhaps even the death penalty based on them not fulfilling our expectations of what someone is supposed to be? This is a complicated issue. So I would strongly invite you to think critically about this. You'll have an initial response, I'm sure, but try to move past that initial response. Try to think about why you had that initial response, why you believe what you believe, why you think what you think. The assignment itself has many small questions in the prompt, and the main question you need to answer is, should jurors be allowed to see the defendant in a trial, or should the defendant be kept out of sight to avoid a verdict being made based on appearance or body language or anything like that, any prejudices or biases, anything. But as I said, the actual assignment prompt has a lot of little questions within it. And it is important that you address each and every one of those little questions carefully, and that you write about them in some detail in order to get the best possible grade. So specifically, the assignment asks you to consider what language games could be played in the courtroom, including nonverbal language games, what manipulative elements might be present in both verbal and nonverbal language games, the goals of the defense versus the prosecution, and how each might use language in a different way to achieve their goals. And then also the use of rhetorical tools, things like hyperbole or euphemisms or diphomisms or sarcasm or emotive language. So each of these little sub-questions needs to be answered and addressed in some length, in addition to the main question about should jurors see the defendant during a trial. There is no real set page minimum or page limit here, but I do think that it would be hard to answer this in less than like one complete page. If I were you, I would probably take the approach of doing a 5-paragraph essay to answer these questions. Again, this assignment can be turned in for preview on the 19th of September, which is Wednesday. And then within 48 hours, I'll get it back to you. And hopefully you'll be able to make some changes and get the best grade possible. If you have any questions about any of the work we're doing this week, please feel free to email me or shoot me a text or give me a call, and I'll be happy to help you. Otherwise, it's good to talk to you guys. I will be posting videos like this pretty much every week. I might miss a week or so here and there, but when we have major assignments, I'll definitely be posting videos to give you guys a little rundown of the assignment and the ideas in the lesson behind the assignment. I hope this helps. Have a great week. Talk to you guys soon.